Marcus Reed had learned to survive on minutes. 1 minute could mean catching the bus. 1 minute could mean missing his son's school pickup. And 1 minute could mean losing his job. He was a single father to 8-year-old Eli, and every morning began at exactly 5:30. Marcus never used an alarm anymore. His body had learned the routine. He would wake before sunrise, walk quietly into the kitchen, and start preparing breakfast while the rest of the apartment remained dark. Eggs, toast, fruit. A small lunch packed in a blue container with Eli's name written across the top. Then he would check the weather, make sure his son's homework was inside his backpack, and wake him gently. Eli. Nothing. Buddy. A small groan came from beneath the blanket. 5 more minutes. Marcus smiled. You said that yesterday. And it worked. It didn't. Eli opened one eye. Did it work today? Marcus laughed. No. Eli finally got up. By 6:15, they were out the door. Marcus drove Eli to school in an old sedan that had more scratches than paint. At the school entrance, Eli always hugged him. See you after work. Marcus smiled. Always. Those 2 words were important. Always. Because Marcus had made his son a promise after his wife died 3 years earlier. No matter how difficult life became, Eli would never feel alone. Marcus had kept that promise. Even when it cost him. Especially when it cost him. After dropping Eli off, Marcus drove to the train station and took 2 buses into downtown Portland. His workplace was a 38-story glass tower belonging to Sterling Meridian, one of the most profitable technology companies in the region. Marcus worked in building maintenance. Most executives barely knew his name. That didn't bother him. He wasn't there to impress anyone. He was there to work. If an elevator stopped functioning, Marcus fixed it. If a pipe leaked, Marcus found it. If the heating system failed at midnight, Marcus came in. If a conference room door jammed before an important meeting, Marcus was the man they called. He knew every floor of the building. He knew which elevators rattled, which lights flickered, which pipes made strange noises, which executives left coffee cups everywhere. He even knew which conference room had a broken chair that everyone blamed on everyone else. His supervisor once laughed and told him, "If this building ever starts talking, it'll tell me you've touched everything in it." Marcus smiled. That's because everything eventually breaks. You're good at fixing things. Marcus shrugged. Somebody has to be. For 7 years, he had been one of the most reliable employees in the building. He had never received a major complaint. Never been written up. Never been late without a reason. He rarely took vacation. He often worked through lunch. But there was one thing Marcus never apologized for. His son. Eli came first. Every day. No exceptions. Victoria Hale, Sterling Meridian CEO, had a different philosophy. She believed personal problems belonged outside the workplace. She was 43, brilliant, wealthy, and famously demanding. Employees called her the clock behind her back because she noticed everything. Who arrived at 8:01? Who left at 5:02? Who took a 10-minute coffee break? Who answered personal calls? Victoria believed that discipline created success. Everyone has problems, she once told the company during a staff meeting. The difference between winners and losers is whether those problems become excuses. Marcus had heard the speech. He hadn't liked it, but he had never argued. He simply continued doing his job. Then came Thursday. At 2:43 p.m., Marcus was repairing a ventilation system on the 32nd floor. The system had been making a strange noise for 2 days. He had finally found the problem. A damaged component needed replacing. Marcus had one hand inside the machine when his phone vibrated. He ignored it. It vibrated again. He frowned. Nobody called him twice during work unless something was wrong. He pulled the phone from his pocket. The screen said, "Eli's school." His heart tightened. He answered immediately. "Hello. Mr. Reed." "Yes. This is Mrs. Collins from the school office." Marcus straightened. "Is Eli okay?" There was a pause. "He isn't feeling well." Marcus stopped working. "What happened?" "He developed a fever. We tried calling the emergency contact, but you're listed first." "What's his temperature?" "It's 102.4. Marcus's stomach dropped. "I'll come right now." "Mr. Reed, we're keeping him in the nurse's office." "I'll be there." He hung up. Marcus grabbed his jacket. His supervisor, Gary, appeared around the corner. "Where are you going?" "My son is sick." Gary frowned. "You're still on the ventilation job." "I know. Can it wait?" Marcus shook his head. "No." Gary looked at the clock. "You've got 17 minutes left on your shift." "I'll make them up." You can't just walk off. Marcus looked at him. Gary, he's 8. Gary sighed. I understand. I'll finish the job tonight. You don't need to. Marcus was already walking toward the elevator. He reached the school 20 minutes later. Eli was lying on a small cot. His cheeks were red. His eyes were tired. When he saw his father, he immediately reached out. Dad. Marcus sat beside him. Hey, buddy. I don't feel good. I know. Are you mad? Marcus frowned. Why would I be mad? Because you had work. Marcus touched his forehead. You're more important. Eli closed his eyes. I knew you'd come. Marcus smiled. Always. He took his son home. That evening, Eli's fever came down. Marcus stayed beside him until he fell asleep. Then he returned to the office. It was nearly 10 p.m. The building was mostly empty. Marcus went back to the 32nd floor and finished repairing the ventilation system. At 11:15, he finally went home. The next morning, Marcus arrived 40 minutes early. He expected a warning. Instead, a message was waiting for him. Report to executive floor, 9 a.m. Marcus stared at the screen. His stomach tightened. At exactly 9 o'clock, he stepped into the executive office. Victoria Hale was sitting behind a glass desk. 2 HR managers stood beside her. Marcus closed the door. You wanted to see me? Victoria didn't invite him to sit. You left your post yesterday. My son was sick. You left for 17 minutes. I notified my supervisor. You didn't receive authorization. Marcus nodded. I understand. Victoria pushed a document across the desk. Your employment is terminated. Marcus stared at the paper. For a moment, he thought he had misheard her. Terminated? Yes. Because I left for 17 minutes? Because you abandoned your responsibilities. Marcus looked at the HR manager. 7 years. She glanced at the file. 7 years and 4 months. Marcus almost laughed. You know exactly how long I've worked here. We know your employment record. And you know I've never been written up? Victoria answered. That doesn't change what happened yesterday. My son had a fever. Everyone has emergencies. He's 8. Victoria leaned back. Mr. Reed, this company cannot operate around everyone's personal circumstances. Marcus looked at her. I wasn't asking the company to operate around my circumstances. Then what were you asking? For 17 minutes. Victoria's expression hardened. Exactly. Marcus glanced at the termination document. He thought about his rent, the grocery bill waiting at home, Eli's medication, school fees, the old car, the future he had been trying to protect. His hands tightened. I'll sign. He reached for the pen. Then his phone rang. The screen showed one name. Eli. Marcus answered. Hey, buddy. Dad. Yeah. Are you coming home? Marcus closed his eyes. I'm coming. Promise. Marcus looked across the room at Victoria. Yes. I love you. I love you too. The call ended. Marcus put the phone down. He picked up the pen again. Then he stopped. He looked at the termination letter. 7 years. 7 years of repairing the building. 7 years of fixing problems nobody else wanted. 7 years of quietly protecting the company from failures nobody knew existed. And suddenly, Marcus remembered something. A promise he had made 7 years earlier. A promise to a man named Harold Bennett, the founder of Sterling Meridian. Harold had once told Marcus, if this company ever forgets why it exists, call me. Marcus had never needed to make that call. Until now. He put the pen down. Victoria raised an eyebrow. What are you doing? Marcus stood. I need 1 minute. Victoria sighed. You've already had 17. Marcus walked toward the door. Make it count. He stepped into the hallway. Then he took out his phone. He stared at one number for several seconds. He hadn't called it in 7 years. Finally, he pressed it. The phone rang once, twice, 3 times. Then a voice answered. Marcus. Marcus looked through the glass wall at Victoria. Yes. What's wrong? Marcus took a slow breath. I need you to activate the emergency clause. There was complete silence on the other end. Then the voice asked, Are you absolutely sure? Marcus looked at the termination papers. Yes. You understand what that means? Yes. Then I'll make the call. Marcus ended the conversation. He put his phone in his pocket. Then he walked back into Victoria's office. She looked annoyed. Feel better? Marcus calmly sat down. No. He pushed the termination letter back toward her. I don't think I'll be signing this. Victoria frowned. You don't have a choice. Marcus looked at her. I think you do. Why? Marcus smiled faintly. Because you just fired someone you probably should have known much better. Victoria stared at him. What does that mean? Marcus stood. Call your board. She laughed. My board? Yes. Why would my board care about you? Marcus reached for the door. Then he turned around. Because I own 31% of this company. Victoria's smile vanished. And for the first time since Marcus had entered her office, she looked genuinely afraid.